everybody, it's Vicki Weber with At Home Author, and I'm so excited to be here today. I'm going to be talking about marketing tips and strategies specifically for traditionally published authors. Now, if you're going down the traditional publishing route, chances are you are going to make a little bit less per book than you would if you self-published. However, you're going to have a lot less work on the production side. But you also might find yourself limited in some ways depending on the contract terminology with your actual publisher. So I'm going to be diving into tips specifically for traditionally published authors, and I'm so excited about it because I think it's something that needs to be spoken about more. Before I dive into it, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos or updates. Let's dive in. To start off, you are going to want a website. Now, even if you have not yet been published or your book has not been released, I highly encourage the first thing that you do is to create a website and get it SEO optimized. There's a lot of benefits to a website, and while you don't need one to get an agent or a publishing deal, it will be to your benefit to have one early on to help your marketing efforts later. This is because SEO actually takes a long time for sites like Google to actually pick up on. Now, what is SEO? I keep rambling about it. What is it? SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. Essentially, it means that your website is set up strategically with enough good information and low competition but high search keywords so that sites like Google and Bing and Yahoo actually understand what type of website you have, what kind of content you create, and more importantly, who is going to care about it. When your website is SEO optimized, it will rank highly in search results, very specific search results. And so you will start getting free, unpaid, organic traffic to your website. The trade-off is that this takes time. If I were to create a brand new website today and SEO optimize it today, it would take 6 months or more for Google to even pick up on those changes. It's a slow process, and that's why I recommend that you start early with a website of your own. There are a lot of very cost-effective places that you can build your website, but I do recommend that you own your own domain. Your domain is not going to cost you very much, and if cost is a concern for your actual website host, then I highly recommend looking into System.io. Personally, I use and love Wix, but it can be a little bit costly if you aren't at the point where you need all of the extra features. System.io, on the other hand, is completely free to start off, and if you own your own domain, you can easily transfer that to a different website host at a different time. So the first thing that I highly recommend is get that website and get it SEO optimized. If you need help walking you through what SEO is, how to implement it, and how to stand out from the crowd, check the description below for a link to my newest book that walks you through it all, specifically for authors, traditionally or self-published. My second marketing tip for traditionally published authors is to start building your email list. Now, email is an incredibly powerful marketing tool because it's a piece of digital property that you own. So you don't have to worry about algorithms changing on you. It's as simple as it gets. You send an email and people get the email. I do have a video that breaks down more specifically how to build your email list. So if you haven't checked out that YouTube video, take a look at it after this one. But building your email list can be a little bit of a slower process. So you want to start to do it early and really get in the swing of how often you want to email and what type of content you want to share with them. The nice part about emails, in my opinion, is that it's so much more personal than social media in a lot of ways. If I send an email and someone hits reply, they are only speaking to me. But if somebody comments on my social media post, hundreds, if not thousands of people could potentially see that. And so it's a really great way to get personal with your following and make them feel like a part of the process and make them feel special. And sometimes that will lead to extra special opportunities like author visits or other exclusive and creative marketing things down the line. Another great marketing strategy for traditionally published authors is social media. Now, my recommendation to you, though, would be to only pick one or two platforms at a time. Once you've mastered one or two, then you can start picking up on others. But if you're trying to do all the platforms all the time at the same time, A, that's exhausting, but B, you're going to spread your reach out and you're not going to gather very many followers because they're going to be spread across multiple different platforms. Instead, think about your genre and where they hang out. If your audience doesn't spend time on Twitter, don't build up your Twitter right now. If your audience is not on TikTok, don't spend time on TikTok right now. Really think about, who am I trying to attract? Where do they hang out? And what you want to spend time on. Then focus on just being consistent, because consistency is more important to algorithms than front loading and then disappearing for several months. So if you want to post once a week consistently. If you want to post 5 days of the week, post 5 days of the week consistently. Know your schedule and pick something that you know you can maintain long term so that you can start building that loyal fan base. As far as crafting content for social media, make sure you are repurposing as often as possible. A lot of people think they constantly need to make something new and fresh. And while you don't want to copy and paste the exact same post or the exact same caption, but you can put a fresh twist on things a lot of the time, because the chances that your audience has seen every single one of your posts are slim to none. So if you have a longer video, you could chop it up into multiple reels. If you have a great book review, like an editorial review or something like that, you could turn that into multiple different graphics or multiple different formats to share that with your audience. Work smarter, not harder is the gist of it. And my final tip is to really look into doing outreach. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. The first is with influencers. Now, influencers can be a little bit of a loose term. It could mean people with a large following on social media. It could mean bloggers or podcasters. Really, the possibilities are endless here. What you want to do is find an influencer who has an audience of people that are your target audience. So just for example, if you write picture books for toddlers, then you would want to go find an influencer who blogs about being a toddler mom and whose following is other toddler moms. Because if I get my book in front of an influencer, but that influencer's following is 18-year-olds, well, 18-year-olds aren't going to buy my children's picture book necessarily. So you want that effort to go somewhere. Really think about who their audience is it your target audience, and then reach out to them. My biggest recommendation when you do reach out is that you're genuine. Nobody wants to be, sold to. Nobody wants to get a message saying, do this thing for me because I said so. That's not motivating. And they're just going to ignore you. But if you reach out and you introduce yourself and you talk about why you love following or why you like their content or the impact that they've had on you or whatever, and then you make a connection between what they're doing and your book, and you are unapologetically yourself, and you are polite, and you ask them, would you be willing to share with your social media following, or would you be willing to write an editorial review? I'd be happy to send you a free physical copy. A lot of times they'll say yes. Don't get me wrong, you will get ignored a lot. I think for every 10 people I reach out to, I only hear back from maybe 1 or 2. But it's super important that you are personal with these people, because that will make them want to help and support you rather than view you as somebody who just wants them for their following. Another great outreach strategy is to reach out for author visits. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. You can reach out to bookstores, you can reach out to schools and libraries. But once you get your foot in the door with other schools and libraries and bookstores, oftentimes they will talk. And you can even get a review from them to then put on your website. You can have a whole tab dedicated to author visits, author signings, and what to expect from them. And so when people start searching for author visits in, insert city here, you can start popping up. Or schools will recommend you to other schools. But when you're first starting out, you're going to need to do that outreach yourself. When it comes to author visits, you'll want to reach out to the librarian or the principal or both rather than a specific teacher, because usually librarians and principals at each school are the ones in charge of the budget and planning author visits. If this is not the case for a specific school, they will let you know, but typically that's who you are going to want to reach out to. If they have trouble funding your author visit, you could offer them a special discount for a certain number of books sold. You could offer a virtual visit for free, or you could even look into options like grants or having the PTO fund your visit. Basically, you want to be flexible and you want to make sure that these schools know that you really want to come and you want to make a difference. You want to be there for them and their students, and you're willing to work with them. Now, as far as how much to charge for your rates or whether or not to charge at all, that's completely up to you. That's at your discretion. There are some authors who refuse to charge for author visits, and there are others that charge quite a bit. It purely depends on how much time it will take you, what travel expenses look like, if you're even willing to travel, and what you're willing to include. The cost for a single 30-minute presentation might be different than booking you for an entire day. So really think through what you want your rates to be and be willing to be flexible at first while you gain some reviews. As always, I hope this has been helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my other YouTube videos and blog posts for more helpful tips and tricks.